Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, your home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Profusa Incorporated. This company is focused on bioengineered body sensors. However, they've also taken up a recent Bitcoin Treasury position. A lot to talk about. Before we get into it, take a second, smash the like button, guys. Big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join. And let us know in the comment section below if you've heard of this company before and if you're currently holding shares. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Profusa Incorporated. Now, as you can see, they trade on the NASDAQ in the United States under the ticker PFSA. I'm recording this video as of Sunday, August 10th. So this is as of close on Friday. You can see a relatively flat trading session, down just around 1% to close out the week at 46.6 cents US. Now, in after hours trading, they did claw a little bit of that back, but an interesting chart, if we actually zoom out to a 1 month view, two things that really catch my attention. It appears we are starting to level out and find a support in that mid 40-cent range. The other thing is this spike both in volume and share price we saw on the 28th of July. Now we're going to talk about some recent news and development in the later half of today's presentation. So worth calling out, on July 28th, a close of $1.94 US, volume on that day of nearly 130 million shares compared to their average volume in the range of about 8 million. So obviously a lot of investor attention, and again, we'll come back to that time frame in a few minutes. Now, because this is the first time covering Profusa on the channel, I wanted to jump over to the corporate website. I'll leave this linked in the video description below, profusa.com. You can see their underlying business is focused or driven by a mission to make the body's chemistry easily accessible to improve health and wellness. We are dedicated to becoming a leader in the development of real-time biosensors that provide unprecedented insights into our overall health status. Now, we're going to talk about their Lumee Oxygen Platform in a second here, but as I said in the intro, this company at its core is really focused on these biointegrated sensors that empower the individuals with the ability to monitor their unique body chemistry in unprecedented ways to transform the management of personal health and disease. Our technology enables the development of bioengineered sensors that become one with the body to detect and continuously transmit actionable medical-grade data for personal and medical use. So yet again, another example of cutting-edge technology being deployed in the medical field. Now, Profusa's first clinical offering in the European Union is the Lumi Oxygen Platform. It's designed to report reliable tissue oxygen levels at various regions of interest, both accurately and long-term. The Lumi Oxygen Platform has been designed for use in applications where the monitoring of compromised tissue is beneficial, such as peripheral artery disease that results in the narrowing of blood vessels and reduced blood flow to the lower limbs, chronic wounds, including diabetic, ulcers, and pressure sores that do not heal properly, and of course, reconstructive surgery. So again, great example of this technology being used in action. Now, if we actually take a look at the Lumi Oxygen Platform itself, you can get a look and feel for the product, along with some statistics about the addressable market. Again, you can see peripheral artery disease, also known as PAD, is a disease in which plaque buildup obstructs arteries in the leg, causing cramping pain during exertion, or the potential in more advanced cases for gangrene. It affects around 202 million people worldwide, 27 million of which live in Europe and North America, with an annual economic burden estimated to be in excess of $74 billion in the United States alone. So again, this is just one of the potential applications for this technology, and provides medical practitioners with a new way to continuously measure tissue oxygen levels in these limbs or extremities before, during, and after treatment, enabling appropriate therapy to be administered in a timely fashion before any advanced symptoms may appear. And if we now pop over to the investor relations portion of the Profusa website, you can actually see one of these biointegrated sensors in action, and a nice little company overview, again explaining that this is a commercial stage company located in the Bay Area. They've invested almost $100 million over the past 10 years developing this real-time platform for this new generation of bioengineered sensors that again empower real-time monitoring of body chemistry for chronic disease management, as we just talked about. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So if we fast forward to some of the most recent press releases, this one came out on the 30th of July. Again, think back to the intro where we saw that huge spike in volume that same week on the 28th of July, talking about Profusa announcing their initial $1 million Bitcoin investment to initiate its digital asset treasury strategy. Now this is something we've started to see a number of companies across various different sectors start to adopt. We've covered it extensively on this channel, and really opens these type of companies up to a whole new investment audience or people that are looking for that Bitcoin exposure alongside these underlying businesses. Now the article goes on to read, Profusa Incorporated announces its initial $1 million Bitcoin or BTC investment under their previously reported treasury strategy. We're going to talk about that in a second. The company intends to continue to tap into growing adoption of digital assets led by Bitcoin to hedge against macroeconomic uncertainties. Profusa has partnered with BlockFills, a leading global provider of crypto trading solutions and financial technology, to execute on Profusa's Bitcoin treasury management strategy. Now, Ben Wang, who's chairman and CEO of Profusa, goes on to say it is important that we diligently execute on our digital treasury strategy designed to maximize our Bitcoin investment and maintain sufficient capital to provide the best-in-class AI-driven digital health platform for the benefits of chronic disease, health, and wellness management. So a couple of key words that jump out to me in that sentence, obviously this Bitcoin investment, also AI-driven digital health platform. So really at the epicenter of two of these massive macro trends being crypto or Bitcoin adoption and the integration of AI or artificial intelligence into our daily lives. These activities will help ensure that we appropriately manage our resources, facilitating shareholder value. The initial investment is an important first step in our collaboration with Ascent Partners Fund to establish a low-cost, capital-efficient, best-of-breed Bitcoin strategy, reflecting our strong conviction in Bitcoin as the digital store of value for the future and our dedication to driving our healthcare programs forward. So a very bullish statement on Bitcoin and this treasury strategy from the chairman and CEO, and looking very forward to watching this continue to evolve over the coming quarters. Now, I just mentioned we'll come back to this Bitcoin treasury strategy, and that actually dates back to an article from the 21st of July talking about Profusa announcing a $100 million equity line of credit to initiate that Bitcoin treasury strategy. Now, if you continue to scroll down into the article, you can see this was essentially set up as an ELOC, which stands for an equipment line of credit. That's an asset-based lending arrangement. So in this case, Ascent Partners Fund came in, essentially purchasing $100 million worth of the company's common stock. And in turn, Profusa is then going to turn around and use 100% of these net proceeds to purchase Bitcoin, which they note can be used for debt repayment, provided the company's cash balance on the date of the put exceeds $5 million. Now, they go on to talk about some of the details and conditions of this agreement, and you can see in connection with the implementation of this ELOC, the company or Profusa will issue cashless warrants to purchase 900,000 shares of the company's common stock at an exercise price of 1 cent per share to Ascent. So an interesting way to set this up, and again opening up a lot of potential opportunities for this Bitcoin treasury strategy moving forward. Now, Profusa then came out on the 31st of July with another press release, this time about their underlying business itself, going on to say they've now signed into a letter of intent or LOI to enter into a distribution agreement in Spain for this Lumi Oxygen Platform. The distributor they've chosen in Spain specializes in the distribution of medical and surgical equipment throughout the country, including the Canary and Balearic Islands, which is obviously a big advantage to Profusa as they have experience and a well-trained team in the region with in-depth knowledge of the medical device sector. And again, Ben Huang, the chairman and CEO of Profusa, goes on to say, we estimate a $10.5 billion plus global addressable market for our tissue oxygen technology across 3 indications, being peripheral artery disease, chronic wounds, and critical limb ischemia. In Europe, the clinical need comes to over 300,000 endovascular procedures a year. We look forward to bringing our differentiated next-generation biosensor technology to address this market need. So again, a great example of how strong the underlying business itself is for Profusa and their Lumee Oxygen Platform, taking a big step opening up the Spain market with the addition of this distribution partner. And the last article we wanted to address in today's video came out just on the 6th of August, so last week, entitled Profusa Provides Strategy Overview and Business Update for Investors. So this is a great way to really summarize today's presentation. I would encourage you guys to go in and take a read through this letter to shareholders from the chairman and CEO, where he goes on to clearly lay out 5 key areas of focus, being number 1, revenue growth and pipeline development. Second, AI infrastructure development. Again, a key theme and trend we're seeing in the marketplace right now, grabbing a lot of investor attention. Third, clinical and regulatory pathways. 4, financial structure and strategy, which we just talked about, Bitcoin Treasury being a big part of that strategy. And the 5th point, scaling of the operations. And Profusa really feels between these 5 pillars, it's the best way to achieve their goals internally and ultimately maximize shareholder value. And they then go on to talk about the importance of that first distribution partner in Spain, helping them set up their Q1 2026 target of their commercial launch in Europe for the Lumee Oxygen Platform. Now, they also talk about expansion into the US market through a pivotal clinical study concurrent with the EU commercial launch, followed by the US FDA submission targeted for the middle of next year, and US commercialization on the roadmap are anticipated for the midpoint of 2027. So some long-term catalysts to be excited for over the next few years, not to mention, again, this huge market opportunity. Another one they're sizing is glucose monitoring for diabetes. This platform represents an addressable market of more than 500 million patients, including both type 2 and chronic diabetes and at-risk pre-diabetes patients. So again, a huge opportunity, expecting human pivotal studies to commence later in 2026 and a goal of commercialization by mid-2027 following the clearance of appropriate regulatory pathways. Now, they then talk about that $100 million ELOC, which we covered earlier, and the importance of that to their digital asset treasury strategy. So again, you guys, a number of things to get excited about in terms of Profusa, both on a near and midterm view. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on Profusa Incorporated in the comment section below, specifically if you're already holding shares of this company or if you've been following any of these recent press releases. If you're still watching at this point, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button, you guys. Feel free to subscribe. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.